So, if you could please be all standing for the first toast. The loyal toast. The Queen. I'll now hand over to B-Ball for the immortal memory.
Very much love. High expectations, of course.
First of all, official stuff, I'd like to welcome all of our guests. I'd like to welcome all of our families and all of our partners that have come out for a wonderful bird supper, which has been put on by our amazing social people. So a quick just...
Smoother.
I originally planned to do a standard toast to Robert Burns. Born, lived, died. But I think we're going to go a little bit off the reservation here and say a couple of things that are a bit odd. Robert Burns was a great liberalist, a socialist. Not a lot of people know that. He moved all around Scotland, almost ended up in Jamaica. I was in Jamaica recently, not the best place to go. He fathered 12 children by 4 different women. Nine of these children were by his wife Jean, and unfortunately only 3 of them made it to adulthood. But I was actually going to mention all his confirmed lovers, but if you all look at the names of your tables, I think you will find a hint. Nellie, Peggy, Meg, Mary, Anna, Nancy, Maria, Leslie, Bailey, Jessie, Jenny, on and on and on. Well, certainly, until I did the research, I thought I was a fairly decent lady, and now I see I'm looking average. Robert Burns' first book of poetry was called Poems, chiefly in a Scottish dialect. I read it, mainly in its English translation. But most importantly about that book, that it was a book for the people. It was considered a poet of the people, so much so that the book was translated into Russian, so that the Russian aristocracy could then identify more closely with their own people or serfs. Interesting to know that Robert Burns lived during the French Revolution, during the American Revolution, but did not make the Russian Revolution. Maybe his book has something to do with that. He's had an incredible influence on world literature, given that I'm American. It was interesting to find out that Steinbeck, the American author, and J.D. Salinger, by the way, passed away 2 days ago. J.D. Salinger wrote Catcher in the Rye. The title was taken from Robert Burns' poem. Absolutely. Well, it's research. Just in case nobody heard, I was asking how to know that. Catcher in the Rye and Mice and Men, Steinbeck, both taken from Robert Burns' poems. So, at this point, I started asking myself, why exactly did they ask me to do the toast? And I figured it out very quickly, because my English is the only English everybody in the room is going to understand. That begs a difference. So then I started doing more research. Why do we celebrate this man, Robert Burns? And I asked a very dear friend of mine, Paul. Wait. I decided that I was going to have to do my own reconnaissance. This wasn't going anywhere fast. So I started thinking, and Robert Burns is the supper itself, the event itself, is actually a celebration of Scotland and everything Scottish. Kind of like Cinco de Mayo for the Mexicans, St. Patrick's Day for the Irish, and 4th of July for us Americans. It's a celebration of Scotland. And then the next automatic question was, what does Scotland mean to me? And why is it that I have fallen in love with this land? So, Scotland to me is the Carrymount Road. I'm on my motorcycle, full speed, with a crisp air, finally gets way into my helmet. It's...
Viva!
It is the
I don't want to...
and the lack of self-perception at the top of Glencova. It is the spires of Edinburgh. It is Glencoe. It's the only place that oozes sorrow. It's a small island castle of Castle Stalker that you can only get to see if the boatman feels like rowing you out. He didn't when I was there. It's the Old Man of Store in Kilrock of Skye. It's the long, deep, and dark waters of Loch Ness. It's the airiness of Banff and the colors of Gardenston. It's the isolation of Auchindoun Castle. And I'm sorry if I massacred that. Auchindoun Castle, if you're lucky to find it, it's Dimitar Castle, perched on a rock between the shore and the disquiet North Sea. It's whiskey. And yes, Kim, I brought my own. It's the feminine malts of the lowlands. It's the character tones of the Speyside malts. It's the robustness of the highlands. And the kick in the sporin of the island malts. And finally, Scotland, and the reason I love this land is for the Scots. My friends, my colleagues, and all of you out there. And I do love Scotland, but Robert Burns, which is why we're here, Robert Burns loves Scotland as only the sun can. He wrote about it more magnificently than I will ever be able to, so I encourage you to read his poetry. And in keeping with tradition, since 1802, which by the way was the first year and the only true fact in this speech here, the first year the Robert Burns Supper was held, I'd like to read to you my favorite Robert Burns poem. It is not Jean, your lovely face. Jean, by the way, was Robert Burns' wife. It is not Jean, your lovely face, nor shape that I admire, although your beauty and your grace might well await desire. Something in every part of you to praise, to love I find, but dear as is thy form to me, still dear is thy mind. No more ungenerous wish I have, nor stronger in my breast, than if I cannot make you so, at least to see thee blessed. But happiness to thee, and as with you I wish to live, for you I would bear to thee. Please stand. I would like all of us to raise a glass to Scotland, to those of you that were born with her in your heart, and to those of us that have found a place in our heart for her. And finally, to the immortal memory of Robert Burns. Cheers. Cheers.